We see them as our companions, our friends, the silent, furry rulers of our homes and the undisputed sovereigns of the internet. They are a source of comfort, a symbol of independence, and the stars of countless videos we scrolled through in the dead of night. But what if I told you that for centuries, this beloved animal was seen as a demon, a harbinger of evil, and was systematically targeted across an entire continent? This isn't folklore. This is history. What if I told you that the purr you find so comforting was once believed to be a satanic whisper? And that this sleek black cat, now a familiar icon of Halloween, was once considered the physical embodiment of the devil himself? This is the secret history of why the world turned on cats. It is the story of how an animal once revered was condemned, and in doing so, it reveals a dark, paranoid, and profoundly strange chapter in our shared past. Before the darkness, there was light. To understand how far the cat fell, we must first appreciate the staggering heights from which its descent began. Our story starts, as Somanido, on the fertile banks of the Nile, in ancient Egypt. Here, the relationship between humans and felines was forged in practicality. The great agricultural wealth of Egypt was stored in granaries, under constant threat, from mice, rats, and snakes. Into this equation stepped a small, stealthy predator, the African wildcat. As they were drawn to human settlements by the abundance of rodents, the Egyptians quickly recognized their immense value. They weren't just pets. They were protectors of the food supply, silent guardians of the harvest. But this practical relationship soon blossomed into something far more profound. The Egyptians saw in the cat a reflection of the divine. They observed its dual nature, the gentle, nurturing mother and the fierce, lethal hunter. Qualities embodied in the goddess by initially a fearsome lioness. Her image softened into the familiar cat-headed deity, a goddess of the home. Fertility and protection. While not worshipped as gods themselves, cats were seen as living manifestations of her divine spark. This reverence, however, had a complex and dark side. Archaeologists have uncovered vast cat cemeteries containing hundreds of thousands of mummified felines. Evidence suggests this was a massive industry, with cats being bred and killed on a startling scale to be sold to pilgrims. This complex reverence was woven into the culture. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote that the penalty for killing a cat, even accidentally, could be death, but this is an anecdotal report. What is clearer is a story, likely apocryphal, recorded centuries later by the writer Polybius. He claimed that during the Battle of Pelusium, the invading Persian army used cats as shields, knowing the Egyptian soldiers would be horrified to harm them. An army supposedly brought to its knees by its reverence for cats. As the Roman Empire expanded, they saw the practical, not titty-beanie. Valued for their mousing skills, cats were loaded onto Roman ships and spread with legions across Europe. They became a standard feature of Roman villas and military outposts, prized protectors of grain. This utilitarian respect continued into the early Middle Ages. In 9th century Wales, the laws of King Hutha assigned specific values, legally acknowledging their economic importance. Yet, a more personal bond endured. The most beautiful testament to this thought is a simple 9th century poem, Hang Your Bow On, written by an Irish monk. He writes of his cat. "'Tis a like task we are at. Hunting mice is his delight. Hunting words, I sit all night." In these verses, we see a partnership of equals. But as the monk and Pangyorbon sat in the warmth of their lamplight, a shadow was creeping across Europe. The Golden Age was ending. How does a revered animal become a demon? It doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, poisoning of perception. For the European cat, this turning point arrived with a shift in faith and a deep-seated fear. As Christianity consolidated its power, it sought to erase lingering pagan beliefs. Old gods and nature's spirits were rebranded as devils. The cat, with its ancient links to pagan deities like the Norse goddess Freya, was a prime candidate for this demonic makeover. But the problem went deeper. Christian dogma taught man had dominion. Dogs could be trained, oxen yoked, but a cat does what it wants. Its fierce independence, its refusal to be truly tamed, was unsettling. It straddled the line between the domestic and the wild. Their nocturnal habits fueled the growing paranoia. While the godly slept, the cat roamed the darkness. Its silent, stealthy movements made it seem like a spy, a creature of the shadows. This suspicion found a terrifying outlet in the burgeoning fear of witchcraft. The belief grew that certain individuals, mostly women, made pacts with the devil aided by familiars, demonic spirits in animal form. The independent, nocturnal, and mysterious cat became the archetypal familiar. Owning a cat, especially if you were an elderly woman living alone. For a time, this was just folklore, but in the 1230s, it received a terrible endorsement. Pope Gregory IX, obsessed with rooting out heresy, received reports from his inquisitor Conrad of Marburg about a supposed satanic cult. Based on these reports, likely extracted through torture, the Pope issued a papal bull known as Vox in Rama on June 13, 1233. The document did not order a continent-wide extermination of cats. Instead, it was a piece of targeted propaganda, a letter describing in lurid detail the supposed initiation rites. The text claims a black cat statue would come to life, and that novices would kiss it. It alleges the devil himself would appear sometimes as a half-man, half-cat creature. It was propaganda, designed to inflame hatred against heretics, but by officially linking the black cat to the devil. Vox and Rama acted as a theological death warrant. It was the moment the whisper became a scream. The stage was set for a massacre. The declaration from the Vatican was like a match tossed into a tinderbox. What followed was a brutal, centuries-long period of sustained cruelty. The persecution wasn't random. It became a celebrated part of life. Black cats were the primary targets, but in the frenzy, any cat was at risk. In France, a gruesome tradition took hold on the Feast of St. John. Where cats would be hoisted in a basket over a massive bonfire. Crowds, including kings and clergy, gathered to watch. In the Flemish city of Ypres, the Catanstoter Cat Festival saw live cats thrown from the Belfry Tower. Today, in a bizarre echo of its dark past, toy cats are thrown instead. This violence was tied directly to the witch hunts, the popular notion that Pope Innocent VIII decreed that a witch's cat should be burned with her is, however, unsubstantiated, yet the association was powerful enough on its own. A cat was often considered proof of a woman's guilt. The cat became the ultimate scapegoat for a society racked with anxiety. In an age of famine, war, and disease, the cat was a tangible target for people's fears. By burning a cat, they felt they were fighting back against the darkness. Humanity had declared war on its former guardian. History is full of cruel ironies. But few are as grimly poetic as what happened next. For centuries, Europe had been targeting its most efficient pest controller. And then, in 1347, a pestilence of biblical proportions arrived. The Black Death. The popular theory is that the centuries of cat persecution directly contributed to the horror of the plague. The logic seems simple. Fewer cats led to an explosion in the rat population, the very vector that carried the plague-infested fleas. In its religious fervor, Europe had effectively disarmed itself. However, this direct link is a subject of debate. They point out that the plague's spread was a complex phenomenon. But whether it was a primary cause or a contributing factor, the symbolism is undeniable. A society obsessed with hunting imaginary demons had made itself vulnerable to a very real monster. So what brought the cat back? The change was slow, driven not by a change of heart, but by a return to reason. As the Age of Enlightenment dawned, the idea of demonic cats began to seem like a foolish superstition. Slowly, utility once again came to the forefront. Sailors, in particular, came to see a ship's cat, not as bad luck, but as a vital crew member protecting food stores. The Long War was ending, not with a treaty, but with a quiet understanding based on the age-old problem of rats. The cat's final ascent from reviled creature to cherished companion was cemented in the 19th century. The Victorian era, with its emphasis on domesticity, was the perfect environment. No longer just a tool, the cat was now seen as an ideal household pet. In 1871, the first modern cat show was held at the Crystal Palace. It was a formal celebration of the animal that, just a few centuries prior, might have been publicly burned, a remarkable and total reversal. From there, the cat's place in our culture has only grown stronger. It is a muse for artists, a comfort in our homes, and a global icon. The story of the cat's persecution is more than a bizarre historical anecdote. The tragedy is that a society so focused on a manufactured evil, today, some old superstitions linger as faint echoes. But for the most part, the cat has been redeemed. So the next time a cat curls up on your lap, and you hear that gentle purr, why do you think superstitions about black cats linger? Let me know.
Hit subscribe for more deep dives into the forgotten realities of history, tech, and luxury.